This podcast is about the topic of self-identity, self-image, and also the concept of who you are, I guess, as a person, as an individual. So many of you are aware that obviously as we're growing up and we've, since our toddler age, maturing into, I guess, the younger ages of our childhood, we have lots of influences around us telling us who we should be, who we are. This comes from your parents, grandparents, it comes from the culture, the traditions that you are surrounded by. It can also be the people that have an impact in your life, the community. This can also be impacted by the media, and I'll come on to that topic later on. As you are growing up, going into your teens, obviously you're facing puberty, your body changes, your whole concept of who you are changes yet again. Obviously we go through various stages of that particular aspect of who we are and what am I here to do, purpose. And that whole aspect of fashion and how we dress, how we present ourselves to ourselves in the mirror, as well as people outside of that community changes as well. Now, fashion is quite an important thing because obviously if you look back through certain generations, those particular aspects have changed and they recognize and symbolize who we are, but they also reiterate how we should be as well, which is quite important. So I was born in 78. I'm an 80s child, early 80s child, and I've seen the 90s and obviously the 20s. And now we're in 2020. And through those phases of my life, I've seen generations change with what was in fashion, whether it was following a punk group, a rock group, whether it was looking at what was the latest fashion in Nike or Calvin Klein, whatever it was that you seem to follow. People changed their self-image and their perception based on the things that we were represented by the media, by the press, by institutions, should I say, like Cosmopolitan and Vogue. And obviously, over the years, that aspect of self-image has changed yet again. So, you are presented with, nowadays, lots and lots of people trying their hardest to be accepted within society because some individuals are tired of seeing models that are almost thin to the point where they're anorexic looking. And then to the other extreme, years back, I can remember Sophie Dahl, Roald Dahl's granddaughter, being quite the pioneer and being accepted as, like, I guess, a plus size model. And in many, many cases, there are situations like that, okay? There's been incidences where mannequins have been told, by companies that they don't represent the real woman, real man of the street, real ethnicity either. Look at yourself, look at mannequins that you see and ask yourself, does this represent me? Does this body image of the mannequin represent me? Does this style, does the shape of the mannequin represent me? But the answer is probably going to be no. A majority of us will have those types of aspects and concepts of society in our mind. And these things, like I said, shape us as well. They have an impact on our aspect or our understanding of self-image. And then on the other extreme, through the media, okay, you've got other aspects of self-image as well about how we should look. So, for example, the latest hairstyle, it could be the latest makeup trend. And this is applicable to both male and female, not just necessarily the females, okay? Because in 2020, you'll have seen there is quite a lot of change in how men are, I guess, guided and how they should look and how they should be presented. This whole aspect of self-image has, increased because some people now are going on this whole bandwagon of doing plastic surgery. And they are doing what they can to modify, correct, change who they are. Now, sometimes those reasons are for genuine reasons. It could be that they have been in an accident, they've been in a fire. We've seen quite a lot of cases worldwide where, unfortunately, some people have been victim to acid attacks or various other incidences like that, where, unfortunately, they've been in real serious, situations where maybe their face has been disfigured. It could be that they've come from the war, back to their country. Certain things have happened to that person's body, face, arms, whatever. And some people have had to have quite a lot of skin graft done. Okay. Now, as I said, in those particular scenarios, and these are my views, you don't necessarily need to agree with them. I'm just, presenting options, I guess, opinions, I guess, on what I see and what I perceive. But I am seeing a huge increase more and more in body dysmorphia and people basically not being able to understand who they are when they look back in the mirror. Some of that is, again, through this pressure from the public, from the media, telling you or basically inferring to you that you are not good enough, you are not the right skin tone, the right look, you haven't got the right nose, for example, you haven't got the nice upper body, okay? And there is a whole culture at the moment where it seems to be mainly by celebrities, music stars, where they're doing the whole plastic surgery, whether it's butt implants, you name it. There doesn't seem to be one particular aspect of that sort of side of things that's not gone missing. Over the number of years, I've seen friends of myself go onto this whole bandwagon of having silicone lips, having lip fillers, having Botox done, and saying to me, why aren't you having it done? And my whole concept is, well, actually, I'm very thankful, I'm very blessed that the person I see in the mirror staring back at me, I'm quite happy with who she is. And don't get me wrong, it's taken me a long time to get to that stage and to be able to accept myself for who I am. Okay? We do go through situations in our life where, unfortunately, we are placed in positions where we don't like ourselves. And it takes a long time for us to accept who we are. Like I said to you, it starts in your teenage years, but it doesn't stop. Sometimes it continues right up until our adult stages as well. There are times when certain parts of us are not happy with what we see staring back in the mirror. And this is where some of the issues with body dysmorphia begin, and they don't end. I've known people have surgeries to, rectify parts of their body that they are not content with. And some plastic surgeons, not all, some plastic surgeons are quite happy just doing the chop change. And obviously they're making quite a lot of money on the side from it as well. What is sad though is that a lot of these people are then not satisfied with that surgery. They want more and they want more and they want more, to the point where I'm sure they don't even recognize who they are again in the mirror. And again, that comes back to this whole concept of self-image and this whole concept of who am I and why am I not happy with the person staring in front of me? You'll know lots and lots of famous cases, I'm sure, where certain people have gone to the complete extreme to have plastic surgery, only to come out the other end and not be satisfied and not be fulfilled with what the result is. And there are some plastic surgeons out there, unfortunately, who are not qualified, who are not doing things correctly. There are lots of people who have done plastic surgery or Botox fillers or lip fillers on the side. We know it happens. And the after effect or the impact on that person is horrific. Where perhaps their jaw is out of line, the whole body dysmorphia becomes a completely different thing altogether. Okay, and they are then too embarrassed, too shy to even step outside their apartment because they realise they are not going to look as attractive as they wanted to be. Again, causing different anxiety issues and different body dysmorphia aspects. What triggers me, I guess, and what concerns me is that because I work in education and have done for over 20 years, is seeing the number of people that I see daily, struggling with this concept of self and struggling with this, who am I? And they seem to just already have picked out the next new nose that they're going to have. They have picked out who they want to look like, almost like morphing themselves into a celebrity or somebody of status, and not actually accepting who they are, that they are beautiful themselves in their own unique way. And that comes down to, self-love, self-image. It took me years and years and years to get to the point where I felt extremely comfortable with who I was. And trust me, I had my own battles with it. I had my own issues with it. And I think you still do as a human being, to be fair, because your body goes through different stages as you get older. Your body changes. Sometimes you're gaining weight, sometimes you're taking weight off. Sometimes you're looking really lovely, sometimes you're not. And people are not shy in telling you that either. They're not shy in putting you on the spot and making it clear that you don't fit into their vision or their ideal of beauty. But and this is where a lot of people struggle. They struggle to be accepted, and they struggle to be wanted and loved. And before it can happen with other people, it's got to start with yourself. And I think that is the biggest mistake that people are making these days. Nowadays they seem to be on a very quick fix of let's go and get trimmed, let's go and lose weight, let's go and do this because I want people to accept me and love me for who I am. Famous celebrities, Adele is a singer, for example, that was in the press recently, where she had gone on this whole weight loss surgery, and I'm sure she's done it for certain reasons, but the press was almost like pounding her, to the point where, oh my God, look at this achievement, look at this, look at that. Well, why didn't you accept her before? Why was she not beautiful before? Because she was, and she still is. But why have we got this whole image in our head, planted in our head? And it doesn't matter which culture you belong to, which generation you belong to. It seems to be this psychologist aspect that we've had in our head. It's almost like a seed that's been planted in our minds that this is how we operate. This is beautiful and this is not. That's what it seems to be to me, clearly. And it's worrying, it's concerning, because there are individuals out there extremely anxious. You're getting an increase, as a trained counsellor, I'm seeing more and more people with aspects of bulimia, anorexia. Pica nervosa is a key one at the moment, but now more and more it seems to be more about body dysmorphia. And what I see in front of me is this person is genuinely, when somebody's saying to me, oh, I'm really fat, I need to lose weight, I need to diet more, I need to not eat. And that person literally is skin and bones, okay? But the perception in their mind, the perception in their head, whether they're male or female, as I've said, it has changed dramatically now. It's the whole concept is there, and they perceive themselves as not being thin enough, not being beautiful enough. They need to lose even more weight. And this is where more and more issues then occur, because they get to the point where they're doing lots of things like self-harming or having plastic surgery to the point where it is just brutal, okay? And it's expensive plastic surgery. It's not a cheap option. But when you're watching 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds in some countries, not all, some, having their nose realigned, having their brows, having their eyebrows changed, whatever it seems to be, their chin, it always tends to be facial. But starting at that age is also, and the parents approved the surgery, by the way, is saying a lot as well, isn't it? Okay, so there are issues out there. And as I said to you, there seems to be a huge increase in male dysmorphia as well, and male self-image. Whether that is because nowadays it's acceptable, you've got to have the six-pack, you've got to have the guns, so to speak, the big arms, the big biceps, you've got to have the chiseled body. There are lots and lots of pressure on men as well as females about how they should look and how their self-image should be. Now, it seems to be spiraling out of control, spiraling out of control. You have people, I think there was the famous guy who was called the Ken doll, and now he's gone from looking like Ken, and now he's phasing into a completely different assignment altogether, which I'll let you research that yourselves. But this is what's happening to people. People are having all these particular surgeries, and they're not actually happy with what's within. So before they've even looked at surgery, before they've even questioned it, they're not happy with what they have inside their heart and inside their brain. And I'm wondering more and more whether we should be saying to, I guess, these individuals that are doing treatment, should there be some sort of counselling for these individuals so that they're well aware of the before and after? Because there seems to be more and more anxiety issues arising out of these issues that are meant to be, I guess, healing or fixing their so-called problems. You know, you can keep throwing money at it, you can keep throwing plastic surgery at these issues, but is it actually dealing with the actual issue itself? No, it's not. It's only escaping from it. It's only evading it. And this is something, I guess, that concerns me as we're in 2020, because there seems to be this whole drive on, it seems to be like a latest fashion thing. Oh, you need butt implants to be successful or to look beautiful. You need lip fillers and look like a pouty fish. I'm sorry, some people do. I know you're going to disagree, but some people really do. They're not happy with themselves. And when's it going to stop? When's this whole concept going to stop? You know, when are we going to accept our self-image? When are we going to love ourselves? And like I said to you, that is not easy. And to use a Clint Eastwood film phrase, you've got to love the good, the bad, the ugly within. And that means your scars. There are parts of my body that I was never happy with and parts that I was embarrassed by. And there's a lot of people that can relate to that. But you have to get to a concept as well where you think, okay, actually, I love that part of me. I accept that part of me. And I think that's where the whole change happens in your mindset. So, you know, if you do have friends, if you do have people that you're aware of, people that you know, that are thinking, contemplating, maybe they've already done it, it's worth having a chat with them, and it's worth perhaps you guiding them in the best way that you can, because sometimes the decisions they make, although it's for them and we've got to respect what we want for our loved ones, okay, and I'm not disputing that, but some people have got to the point where they've really, really abused the whole system of plastic surgery and various other injections and treatments that they can get. It starts with loving you. It starts with accepting you for who you are. And it starts with recognizing that you are a beautiful individual. But you have to start with that analysis. You have to be the one, a bit like the Michael Jackson song, looking at yourself in the mirror and being happy and content with the person that's staring back at you. Because until you do that, nothing, no injection, no plastic surgery is going to be good enough. Okay? So I'm sure we'll have different topics like this again on similar topics, similar themes. These are my thoughts on this right now at this moment in time in 2020. And let me know your thoughts. Take care. Bye for now.